Hi, everybody. Welcome to my... I don't know what I want to call this. I'm going to call this like a personal diary. Kind of like my podcast, but this is just all about me. Like, it's about myself. Like, this is me talking to myself and uploading these online in case maybe there is somebody out there that might relate to what I might be saying or what I might be going through. I also give like terrible advice, and I think people love to listen to terrible advice. So I don't know what I'm gonna name this yet. There will probably be a plethora of names, and like I'll probably will be like picking through names. Maybe before I upload this, I'll have a name decided, and I'll kind of be like, oh yeah, I do know what I want to name it, but I don't know. Wait, hold on. Let me put my phone on. Do not disturb. Do you hear that? That's my phone. I need to put it on do not disturb. Anyways, I guess I wanted to start this little personal diary because I feel like my life has been like changing a lot. I'm gonna like get comfortable because like I want this to feel like a therapy session. My life has been changing a lot, and it's been pretty unexpected and pretty wild. No doubt. I think it's caught in me by surprise. It might have caught the people around me by surprise too. Well, I know it did because that's all they fucking say. But like, to be honest, it's been something so raw and beautiful and inspirational in some sort. I feel like towards myself, like for myself, because I never thought I could go through such a rebirth like this one on my computer. I didn't know I could go like through such a rebirth. And you know, you think once you kind of finish your teenage years, you kind of think you're done discovering yourself. But I feel like true discovery doesn't really start until you're in your 20s. You know, in our teen years, we think we know what we want to do. We know who we are. You know, some people have their entire life set out for them. And some people, you know, they follow that. And that's, you know, the life that they have set out for themselves. But for me, that wasn't the case. You know, I never really knew where I was headed. And I totally didn't know that I would end up here where I am now. It's been kind of wild, you know, realizing that I am trans and that I had been lying to myself and hiding it from myself was something that was so deep and almost dark. And I feel like I hid it from myself and I was ashamed of it. That I had to kind of like come to terms with it. Agree that this is the truth. Like, this is what happened. This is what's happening. And this is who I am. And that's okay. You know, and it sounds so cliche to say that, but like you hear people say it's okay to be who you are. But at the end of the day, we all still struggle with that internal battle of being who we truly are. And that is so okay. Like, that is so fine to be going through that struggle of finding out who you are, because at the end of the day, without that struggle, you wouldn't really know who the fuck you are. You'd be miserable. You'd be living a miserable life. And that was my main reason for like me being like, you know what? I am trans and I have to see if this is the case for me, because I don't want to live my life until I am 40. And then when I'm 40 and I have a family and I'm like, fuck, I'm a trans girl. And it's like, what am I going to do now? And I'm 40 and I'm wrinkly and I'm ugly. And I'm like, well, no shade to the old dolls. Mwah. Y'all are beautiful. Y'all are gorgeous. But mother here didn't want to wait that long. Oh, somebody's calling me. Intermission. Yo, why are you bothering me?
Dang.
No, I'm just kidding, bro. Say hi to my podcast.
To your podcast. Hi.
Yeah, I'm making a podcast right now. But yeah, no shade to the old dolls. Like, you know, that's your thing. Honey, do it. Feel empowered. Do it whenever the fuck you want to do it. Because there is never a right time to find out who the fuck you really are. You could find yourself out when you're 70. You could find yourself out when you're 5 years old. You could find yourself out when, I don't care. I don't care. But me, I was like, now is the time. Like, this shit is, I've been hiding this for so long. I've been lying to myself. I've been telling myself, no. I'm like, no, shut up. Ugh, my nose itches. I'm like, no, shut up. Like, that's not true. Like, shut up. And girl, it was true. What am I gonna do now? And I was like, you know what? Embrace it. Be who you are for your pride. So yeah, I really was who I am. And then I was like, you know what? Everything's gotta change. And my life kind of went upside down. Did I think it was gonna go upside down because of this? No. My life changed. And this is the whole journey, honey, and we're jumping up a couple chapters now. I have found myself to be spiritual again. I have found peace in my spirituality. And you know, I don't believe in old, like, Christian Catholic Bible stuff. Sorry, y'all. Not for me. Love y'all who do that. Respect to y'all. I am an old girl. I believe, I guess the closest thing you could describe to it is paganism. And in my life, I feel like there is this goddess that was put in my life. And I didn't realize it until after that all this stuff was changing, that all this stuff happens for a reason. And I feel like I could just be finding peace within my spirituality. And I feel like that is such a common thing to do when it comes to not knowing what's happening. You look for somewhere to have some sort of peace. And for me, that was reconnecting with my spiritual self and, you know, diving back into what I was doing before. Going back to, you know, doing my witchy stuff, my tarot readings, you know, being open to working with, you know, goddesses and stuff like that. And, you know, I was been doing a lot of research and whatever. And one of the main things about this goddess is that she changes your life and you don't even realize it. And my life, I felt, turned upside down for such a hot minute. And I was like, what the fuck is happening? Why am I doing this to myself? Where the fuck? I felt like I kind of was just blowing things up. But at the same time I was doing all that, I felt like all of that was happening for a reason. And I felt freaked out, and I felt like I didn't know where things were going. And, you know, but at the same time, I felt an odd sense of peace. And I think that odd sense of peace was her. My eyes twitching. I don't know if y'all can see that. And I know that's a little bit deep, whatever. We could get into my spirituality, you know, a whole other day. And I would love to make multiple episodes about, you know, the goddess that I work with, Hecate, and my witchcraft and my tarot readings and all that beautiful shit, because that is so beautiful. And I feel like, you know, we all have a little bit of some witch in us. And I feel like before science, there was magic, and that's a whole different thing. And we can dive into that because, you know, we try to find things or ways to explain things that we don't know. And magic is one of those things. But magic doesn't go against science. Magic works with science. And magic tweaks science in your favor. But that's just my thing. That's just my little thing. But anyways, like I was saying, let's gather back. My life fucking changed. I left my job, put my 2 weeks in. I applied to a new job in a different city, in a different state. I didn't know what the fuck I was going to do. I thought I had it planned out, but then that plan threw it all out. I was going to be like, you know, I was going to commute and I was just going to go back and forth. You know, I was going to move back with my parents and all that. No. Mommy and daddy said, I'm not letting you move back in. And I was like, okay. I was like, yeah, okay. And I had to find my own way. And that is okay. And I'm glad I did. You know, I've never felt so independent. I've never felt so strong. so beautiful, so myself, you know. Look at my Edward Cullen t-shirt. Daddy. Sorry, I get distracted easily. Yeah. It's crazy. It's crazy, y'all. And I guess I'm here to bring this whole entire story together. Let's bring this whole story about change. I think change is something that is so unexpected and scary, but it is so fucking beautiful. And it's something that we all fear, inside or out. Or we all just kind of like to know what's going to happen next, but sometimes we don't. And I used to be the type of person to be like, oh, I don't care what happens next. You know, I go with the flow. And, you know, you still go with the flow. I'm looking at my hair right now. You still go with the flow when you're changing, because there's nothing you can control really when things like this happen. You just have to go with the flow and let things play out. And I was just kind of like letting things play out. But at the same time, I still had this fear inside of me of not knowing what was going to happen next and where I would end up or how things would play out. And I was just kind of like, God damn, like, why did I make this so hard on myself? And I'm glad everything played out the way it did, because now I'm in a beautiful city. You know, I have been able to see who are the people who really truly support me and love me. I feel like I've gotten to start over again and truly be who I want to be and be happy about that and embrace it. And I guess part of the reason why I'm kind of filming this is because I know that I'm going through this journey, and I don't know if maybe out there somebody might be able to hear this and understand what I'm going through or relate to what I'm going through and maybe take some advice. It might be terrible advice, but I guess pick and choose what you want to take from what I say, and let this be kind of like my like endless legacy, but like secret, but like, you know, like it's like a diary. And like maybe one day in the future somebody will pick this up and like make a movie or a TV show about my crazy diary and all the stuff that happens to me and stuff like that. But I just want to share like what's raw and what's real, and the shit I go through, the shit I think. You know, maybe some days I'll bring a couple friends on to kind of see what they're going through and see what they think and shit like that. And we can talk about these things that we all go through. And I want this to be low quality. I want this to be not like big production or anything. I got a cheap ass microphone. I'm doing this on my laptop because I want this to feel authentic. I want this to kind of feel like we're on FaceTime and I'm telling you how my day went, or I'm telling you my love life, or I'm telling you the arguments that I'm going through, or I just want to vent. Like, I just want to share how I feel. And I think part of this is also, if you know shadow work, if you know, you know, I think part of this is also doing the shadow work that I need to do. It's like kind of self-reflecting on the inside and thinking about, why the fuck do I do this? Why do I behave this way? Why do I think this way? I need to be able to let these things go. And I feel like the only way I can let these things go is just by putting it out there, uploading it. I don't care if this gets 0 views. I don't care if this gets 100 views, 1,000, 1,000,000. I don't care, because I'm not doing it for that. I'm doing it for myself. I'm doing it for peace. Does that make sense? Yeah, my brain's like a little bit like, y'all are not ready for this. I'm not ready for this. I feel like I'm a little bit scared because I'm like, I might say something and I might regret uploading it. So maybe it's better if like 0 people watch this, because then it's like, but if anybody wants to like turn this into a TV series down the line, maybe like in a couple years when I'm like, look back and I'm like on episode 569, be like, oh my God, we have so much content to make here. Just make sure you give me credit and you include me or whatever you call it. I want money. yeah, I want money. So I can't wait to dive in and share my raw, honest. My lips are dry. My lips look dry. Ignore it. I need chapstick. Yeah, I don't know what else to say. I think this is a good introduction to what I want to do and what I want to share with you guys and what I want to put out there. I don't know what I'm going to name this. I feel like I'm along the lines of like something like the worst advice, because I feel like I don't really give the best advice, but sometimes I do. But it's like I don't really want to say it's the worst advice, because then people like, I do kind of give good advice sometimes, but I don't at the same time. So it's kind of like, I don't know. Also, guys, I'm going to cut my hair. I'm gonna get baby bangs. I'm tired of like the side bang. The side bang has done me a great justice sometimes, but she's getting annoying. And I feel I've already lived that. You know, I loved a good side bang. She was gorgeous. She was cunt. And you know, we will always support the side bang girlies, but I think it's time to go back to a full middle part and get rid of the side bang. Although like it tucked in my ear is always like, yeah, okay, I need to stop dragging this out. Bye, capiche. I love you. Hopefully I don't forget to do this, because if I do, this will be really embarrassing, and I'm just gonna upload this onto YouTube, and I will never look back at this video because I don't want to hear about it myself ever again.